Hello everyone, I am Shane from Learn Create Build Academy, and this is 10 Minute Tuesday. So what exactly is 10 Minute Tuesday? Well, I'm going to teach you something cool with technology in 10 minutes or less. Today, we're going to be learning how to build a video game using Construct 3. So everyone put on your game builder's hat, and let's get started. So if you're like me, then you like video games. But what's cooler than just playing a video game? How about building your own video game? So today, let's use Construct 3, and let's spend a few minutes and get our own game off the ground. So anytime you go to build a game, you need to start by thinking, what am I going to use? What game engine can I use to build this game? In this case, we're going to use Construct 3. So let's go over to construct.net, and you'll be able to see, when we get to the main Construct 3 website, that we can build awesome games. You're first going to need to register. I'm already logged in, so I'm going to go ahead and just click Get Started. But make sure you register first. This entire program is online, so that means all you need is a web browser. So let's click Launch Construct 3. It's going to take a minute to load, and it's going to tell you that right now Construct 3 is just a beta version. That means there might be some bugs, some things that aren't perfectly worked out yet, but that's okay. I'm feeling pretty risky. Let's do it. You can see I have some test games I've used, but one of the coolest things about Construct 3 is that it lets you start with different templates. So let's look at some of these templates. We have a driving template, an endless runner template, a flapping bird, a flying along, infinite jumping, physics, platformer, real-time strategy games, all kinds of different templates. And all you need to do if you want to see how that game works is just click Open Project. There's also some different beginner examples, intermediate examples, and advanced examples that teach you different things in how to use Construct 3. The other cool thing about Construct 3 is you can actually take the games you build, if you have a professional version or a paid version, and you could turn it into an app for some kind of cell phone device. But let's go ahead and we're going to start from scratch. We're just going to build a really simple game just to show you how easy it is to get started. So I'm going to click this big New Project button. And I'm going to call it Platformer. We're going to build a really simple platformer where we have a character that runs and jumps, kind of like Mario or the old Sonic games. We're going to leave everything else at its default. And I'm going to go ahead and click Create. Now, this might seem a little intimidating at first, but it's really not too bad once you figure out what all these different options are. So right now, we're on what's called the layout. The layout is where you design your game. So layout is for design. We also have this thing over here called an event sheet. It's empty right now, but this is where you do the programming. We're not going to get into the event sheet much today, but it's where you're going to need to go and spend a lot of time if you want to program out a really complex game. The cool thing is it's all drag and drop, so it's not too complicated. The first thing we need to do anytime we want to create a game is probably start with a sprite. A sprite is any kind of character or graphic that's going to be moving across our screen. So to create one, we just double click. It's going to pop open a little window that says we're going to create a new object type. Let's scroll down and find, you got it, Sprite. This is going to be my player. So I'm going to give it a name of Player. Once you have that ready, let's click Insert. And just click anywhere in this white area. This brings open our image editor or animations editor. We can draw out our own character. So I'm going to draw a stick figure. Try to make a stick figure that looks kind of good. I don't know if I'm going to be successful or not, but I'm going to try. So there we go. I think that looks like a pretty good stick figure. Now, you could actually draw out multiple animation frames, so if you wanted to make your stick figure look like it's moving, you could have different animations. You might have a jump animation, a run animation, falling down or dying animation. There's all kinds of different animations you could add. You just click Add Animation, and you could add different frames. You can also load in an image from a file. So if you have a file that you wanted to load in, a character that you wanted in your game, you could just load it up by clicking this button right here. When you're done, it's easy. Just click this button at the top to close out, and we can resize this You notice that I can resize it this way, but if I hold the shift button, which I like to do, it keeps the same aspect ratio. So you see how it doesn't matter what I do, it's always the same or similar width and height, so it doesn't stretch it. I'm going to make my character probably about this big. And right now I have kind of a small level. We can actually make this a little bit bigger. Before we do that, there's two things we need to learn about. One is called your layout size, and one is your window size. So you can see this dashed line here. This is the window size. This is what I would see if I was in the game. This entire layout is like the layout size. So if you think of, if you've ever played an old Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog game, you can only see part of the level. So that's the window size, but the entire level might expand way out. So I could choose to make this level much bigger. If I click on Layout 1, you can see there's a size over here. I can click this, and if I wanted to make the width, let's say 5,000, I just type in 5,000, hit enter, and now you can see it's much bigger. So I have my character. I want to design some platforms that my character can jump on. So to do that, we need to add another sprite. We double click, we select sprite, and I'm going to call this platform, and click insert. Now I'm just going to fill this in with a color. Any color will do. I will pick blue. So I clicked the paint fill tool, picked a color, filled it in, and then I'm just going to close out. I'm going to resize this block down to about there, and now I'm going to make some different platforms. So one really cool trick is if I hold down the control key and I click and drag, I can make a copy. So you can see I can make a bunch of little platforms. So I'm going to make kind of a cool, complicated level here. Oops, I copied two of them. Didn't want that. And I'm going to go ahead and just design out this level really quick. You could do a lot more, of course. Oops. So just make sure you select the one you want, hold down control, then click and drag and let go, and now you have a new copy. So I'm creating a bunch of different objects here of these platforms. And then I'm going to have a bigger jump. See if I can make that down to here maybe. Something like that. I don't know if I can actually make this jump yet, but we're going to find out. So I have some platforms. Now I want to get my character to actually be able to stand on these platforms. So Construct has what's called behaviors. So if we click on the platform, click on behaviors, we can add a new behavior, and we want it to be solid because we don't want our player to fall through it. Behaviors are like pre-programmed bits of code that are added into your game, so you don't have to write all the code in your event sheet yourself. So let's close this out. Now I need to add two behaviors to my player. First, let's go to behaviors, and let's add the platform behavior. The platform behavior, if you add it, it gives you a bunch of different options over here. One option I like is double jump, so I'm going to click on that. I'm also going to add one more behavior. Let's go ahead and scroll down and find the scroll to. This makes sure my camera scrolls and follows my player, just like in Sonic or Mario. Now if I'm ready to go, I click the play button. It's going to pop up. You might see a message that says you need to allow pop-ups, which you'd have to come up here and add pop-up or allow pop-ups. Otherwise you have your game and you can go ahead and run and jump using the arrow keys. You can see I can double jump, and if everything goes well, I can make it all the way across my first level, just like that. Now to save it, we can click Save here. It's going to ask you to use Google Drive, Dropbox, or Microsoft OneDrive to save it. So you'd have to allow Construct 3 to save to your Google Drive or whatever Dropbox, whatever service you want to use. But once you do that, you can save it, and you'll be able to then see your games show up in your recent projects. So over here you'd be able to see your recent projects. Once I save it, it will show up here. So I'm going to click save. Now if I refresh, it should show up and I will have my saved project. There you go. So that's how you build a game using Construct 3. So go out, try it on your own, and see what kind of cool games you can come up with. We'll see you next time.